Let's talk about a feeling I bet you've had recently. A sense that the internet, our huge connected digital world, is starting to feel a little bit off, a little bit dead even. We're gonna dive into what's really going on.
Have you been scrolling lately and just gotten this vibe that something is fundamentally wrong? It's kind of like walking through a town where everyone has been replaced by mannequins. The posts feel hollow, the content is just bizarrely repetitive, and you can't shake this feeling that you might be one of the only real people left.
Well, good news, you're not imagining it. What you're experiencing is the rise of something people are calling AI slop. You've probably seen it, those totally bizarre viral images of Shrimp Jesus on Facebook with thousands of people commenting amen. It's weird, and it's the most obvious sign of a much deeper change happening just under the surface.
So, let's start right there with that uncanny feeling. Why does so much of the internet today feel so empty? Well, the answer, it turns out, lies in what AI is really good at. And more importantly, what it just can't seem to replicate about us.
Some researchers have basically run what you could call a Turing test for feelings on AI, and the results are pretty fascinating. While an AI can totally mimic the structure of a human conversation, it just falls flat when it comes to the feeling. It struggles with real affection, with optimism, with all the messy, spontaneous, complicated emotions that make us, human. That's that hollowness you're sensing. It's real.
And that feeling, it isn't just an illusion. It is backed up by some truly staggering data. So let's get into the hard numbers and see how this whole thing is playing out.
All right, here's the headline. For the first time in over a decade, the balance has officially tipped. According to a new report from the cybersecurity firm Imperva, automated bots now make up 51% of all web traffic. Let that sink in for a second. For the first time, we are the minority online.
And we're not just talking about helpful, benign bots either. Oh no. A massive chunk of that bot traffic, get this, 37% of the entire internet is actively malicious. These are bots doing things like scraping your data, trying to take over your accounts, and messing with inventory. They aren't just creating noise, they're actively trying to exploit the system.
And this whole trend is just hitting hyperspeed. Experts that Europol cited are predicting that by 2026, and that's just a couple years away, folks, as much as 90% of all online content could be synthetically generated. We are right on the verge of an almost completely artificial internet.
So this is it. This is the tipping point. Some people are calling it the Great Inversion. It's that exact moment the internet stopped being a place for people that was browsed by bots and became a place for bots that is only occasionally visited by people.
So what's behind this huge surge? Well, it's not just the old way of AI models scraping data to train themselves anymore. The real explosion is coming from something called RAG bots. Think about it like this. Every single time you ask ChatGPT or some other AI a question about current events, it sends a bot out to the internet to find that information for you. We are literally outsourcing our own web browsing to AI, and in the process, we're flooding the web with their traffic.
Okay, so when you put all of this together, the weird, uncanny feeling, the data showing bots are the new majority, the explosion of synthetic content, you end up with a framework. And it's a framework that used to be a fringe conspiracy theory, but is now looking eerily accurate.
This is the dead internet theory. The core idea is that the living internet, the one built on authentic, human-to-human connection, has been, for all practical purposes, replaced. What we have left is kind of a digital graveyard, haunted by bots and algorithms, where synthetic, fake content is the new normal.
And the speed at which this happened is just stunning. Check out this timeline. In 2021, this was just some obscure idea on a tiny little forum. Then, boom, 2022, ChatGPT is released. By 2024, AI slop is totally mainstream. And now, the data confirms its central idea. The bots are in charge. This theory went from paranoid whisper to documented reality in less than 5 years.
This quote from Olivia Joslin at Tollbit, it just perfectly captures this huge shift. The internet isn't really being built for human eyes anymore. Its main audience, its primary reader, is becoming AI itself.
But this whole thing leads to a really bizarre and deeply ironic problem. What happens when an internet made by AI becomes the main food source for the next generation of AI?
Well, researchers have a name for it: model collapse. You can think of it like a kind of digital entropy. It's what happens when AI starts to poison its own well, leading to this slow, steady decay of quality, of diversity, and of truth.
The best analogies is making a photocopy of a photocopy. The first AI models, they trained on a rich, diverse, messy human internet. They then created a slightly distorted, less diverse version of that. Now, the next generation of models is training on that faded copy, which just compounds all the errors and loses that original spark. The system is literally eating its own tail.
So, if the big open web is becoming a wasteland of AI-generated junk, where are all the actual humans going? Well, the answer seems to be that we're retreating. We're going behind walls.
And first, let's just look at the casualties here. The actual human creators who built the open web are getting decimated. Look at the music site Stereogum. Their ad revenue has collapsed by 70%. Business Insider's search traffic is down by over half. The economic engine that powered all that human-made content is sputtering and breaking down, which is forcing people to go find a new home.
And this is where they're going. The vibrant, organic, real conversations that used to define the open web, they're moving to closed, curated spaces, paid newsletters, private Discord servers, invite-only communities. Quality human interaction is slowly but surely moving behind a paywall. It's becoming a luxury good in a giant sea of free synthetic noise.
Which leaves us here at a really critical turning point, the great experiment of the open web, this shared global commons of human knowledge. It seems to be failing. We're abandoning it for smaller, safer walled gardens. And as we build this new, fractured internet, the most important question isn't just what it will look like, but who gets left outside the walls.